Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.
Welcome back to Southeast Radio's Business Matters with me, Karl Fitzpatrick. Well, in February last, Jason Ward was appointed Vice President and General Manager of Dell Technologies Ireland. And Jason joins me on the phone now. Jason, many congratulations on your recent appointments with Dell Technologies Ireland. But perhaps you can tell us about your transition into Dell from its acquisition of EMC 3 years ago.
Yeah, thanks, Karl. Well, I joined Dell, or EMC as it was formerly known, 10 years ago. And I originally joined EMC as the country manager running the Irish business. And from there, I moved within the EMC organisation. Starting off in Ireland, I then progressed to run sort of our UK business, or north of the UK, which is sort of the Scotland, Ireland and Manchester business. I ran that for 2 years and then moved to run the rest of the UK, so the entire UK business, and did that for a couple of years. And subsequently, my last role was running the business in our Nordic region, so Norway, Finland, Sweden and Denmark. Did that for 3 years, and within those 3 years, Dell acquired EMC. And throughout that merger, we reorganized the company into what we call One Dell, which is the whole Dell EMC business combined and all of the solution lines combined into one complete organization. And in February, I then was delighted to take up the role to run Ireland for what we call Dell Technologies, which is basically all of the companies combined under the Dell Technologies brand.
And what was the trigger for the acquisition by Dell, and what benefits has it delivered to the company?
Well, interestingly, Dell and EMC have a relationship that goes back probably 10 years, to be honest. And then over the last sort of 3 to 4 years, Michael Dell recognized that, the IT industry is going through serious transformation, and recognized that, to drive digital transformation, organizations were going to look at companies that had a full wide portfolio across, IT infrastructure to support those transformation journeys. So the EMC portfolio, hyperconverged, data protection and storage, along with VMware, which is sort of software-defined networking, software-defined storage and virtualization, complemented the Dell portfolio very much. And when you looked at the products from both companies, and when you merge those together, drive a lot of efficiencies in R&D's capability between all of the product lines, you come up with a new, Dell Technologies portfolio that lends itself very well to the digital transformation that most companies are going on today.
And were there any challenges that arose as a result of the merger between the two companies because of the fact that there were such large companies being integrated?
It's a great question. And to be honest, no, not really. And, from working on, the EMC side and then obviously people on the Dell side, very early on, what Michael did was he looked at the cultures of both organizations, and we did quite a number of surveys and employee scoring around, the culture and how it could potentially fit together. And all of the matching came up, near perfect. And the great thing about having culture that's similar on both sides, it meant that there wasn't a huge amount of friction. It has been very positive. From an employee perspective, a lot of people transitioned to the new organization. We've now grown to, over 50,000 employees globally, a $90 billion company. And, our employee net promoter scores have increased substantially. So it's been a great journey for everyone, and a very positive one at that.
And in a post-pandemic world, what do you see as being transformative in terms of the way we live our life?
Well, I think, if we look at just Ireland, for instance, and look at our business, the shape of our business in Ireland, clearly what we've seen is, home working, remote working has really come to the fore. And, what we're finding is a lot of our customers are looking to Dell for support around how can we enable and support organizations that traditionally would have had a lot of, office-bound workers. How can we help them now operate in a home environment? And interestingly enough, 10 years ago, Michael and the Dell board and management team recognized the idea of home working and, remote working. And we implemented a strategy to support that. And we built infrastructure and tools to enable our workforce to work remotely. So we have a huge amount of experience in the remote working space. And I think what we'll see post-pandemic is, I think a lot of companies will evaluate their their capital expenditure, their real estate, and sort of see, how can they repurpose employees to be, working more remotely, which potentially could save costs and make companies a lot more, agile.
And how is Dell preparing itself for that greater opportunity that lies ahead?
Well, I think it's twofold. One is, a lot of our employees are used to working from home. We have 150,000 people globally, a very diverse workforce across many countries. So, we're used to employees and, team members working remotely. And, to cater for, I suppose, the new world or the new norm as it'll become known, who knows what that'll look like. But I do think there'll be more organizations looking to, and we're seeing it today, companies are coming and engaging with us and looking for best practice advice around how can they establish a IT environment within their organizations to support, remote workers. So that lends itself to different types of solutions, predominantly around sort of, hyper-converged infrastructure and VDI, so virtual desktop infrastructure, to enable remote working. And we've developed quite a number of solution capability around that. And we're working with our customers today to educate them around best practice, around security, obviously, because if you have a lot of remote workers and people, coming in over whether it's a VPN or broadband or wireless networks, security needs to be, at the forefront of that. So, we're working with customers to help them design, their new, modern infrastructure to support remote working.
I know that sustainability is a key objective for Dell, and in that regard, Dell has set a 2030 goals. What are these goals, and how will you set about achieving them?
Yeah, well, we've just completed our 2020 ones, which we surpassed with great vigour. And, our 2030 goals range, from obviously diversity. We want to have a diverse workforce, female population of leaders and, participants in our entire team membership, above 50%. We're working very well on that at the moment. And also then about product sustainability. The whole recycling of, what we do within our products is absolutely critical. We've been very early adapters of, recycling, all of the products that we make. How can we reduce our carbon footprint? We've made some commitments around 100% recyclable products. And then for every product that we bring to market, we will have another product introduced in its placement that has been fully recyclable.
Now, we've touched upon it a few times during the course of the interview, and that's in relation to the phenomenal pace at which the world of technology is evolving. So how can Dell assist its clients in leveraging these technologies such as artificial intelligence and 5G?
If you think of our base in Ireland, so, we've got 6,000 team members in Ireland, with great campuses in Cork and Limerick, and particularly in, Cork and Limerick, we've got our centres of excellence and our research and development labs. So we're working with customers and, with partners around this whole area of, artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things. And we partner with customers around programs that they may have, be it smart cities, digital cities. Actually, we're working with some agricultural vendors or, customers around, smart farming, where we've got, tags on cattle around movement around farms, best agri format around how we measure and monitor crops and fields. Some very interesting programs we're doing around artificial intelligence, for instance. We were engaged in a project up in Northern Ireland around, scouring the seabeds for prawn burrows. It's a hugely human-intensive process. I'm working with one of our partners. We've developed AI and analytics to enable, rather than marine biologists having to one by one go through these, prawn burrows to see which ones they should protect, we've been able to, sizably survey the seabed, apply AI and ML, and without human intervention, identify areas where you can sort of trawl and fish.
That's fascinating use of emerging technology. But how would you best describe the approach that Dell takes to innovation?
So we look at customers, look at their projects, look at challenges they have within their business environments, then come back to our labs and see that, look, how could we develop new product solutions that will enable our customers to achieve some of the objectives they have? Some of the, if you think about the products we've brought to market, hyper-converged infrastructure, which is basically, how can you bring storage, compute, and networking into one appliance to save on power, cooling, and costs for customers. We've developed that. The whole idea of, data protection, again, we've developed unique solutions around that. And then in the space of, software-defined networking and, this whole idea of containerization. How can you develop new infrastructure for customers to develop applications in a very agile and rapid manner? We're working with customers to provide infrastructure, design infrastructure to enable customers to do that. An interesting area is autonomous driving. And we've been working with, a lot of the leading car manufacturers around how can we help them move from level 1 autonomous driving to level 5, which is fully autonomous. And a lot of that involves, if you think about the scale of data that needs to be, pulled back from cars and, digital cities to enable this type of autonomous driving, the volumes of data are enormous. And the systems to hold the scale of that data haven't been developed yet. So we're working, with our partners to build infrastructure that can, hold that data, consume that data, and then enable customers and, manufacturers to analyze that data in place to, interact with that data in a very real-time fashion.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Jason Ward from Dell Technologies, and I would like to thank Jason for providing us with an insight into the world of Dell this morning.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
South